Candy bars do not get obituaries, they just stop showing up. One week, your favorite is sitting third from the left on the rack. The next week, something new is in its slot. And by the time you notice, it has already been gone a month. The rack just closes ranks and moves on. Between the 1960s and the 1980s, dozens of bars disappeared exactly that way, quietly, without a press release, without a goodbye. Some lost trademark fights. Some got swallowed whole in buyouts. One of them is technically still sitting right in front of you. Today we are counting down 10 of them, and for each one, the real story of how it died, because almost none of them died the way you would think. Number 1. The Marathon Bar, 8 inches long. That was the whole pitch. Mars launched the Marathon in 1973. A rope of braided caramel drenched in milk chocolate, sold in a bright red wrapper with an actual ruler printed on the back to prove the length. The slogan promised it would last a good long time, and the commercials turned that promise into a Western. A hero named Marathon John, outlasting a villain called Quick Carl in ad after ad. The bar itself fought back while you ate it. That braid stretched, snapped, and clung to your teeth for half a block. For a kid with 1 coin and a long afternoon, the Marathon was simply the best deal on the rack. Mars killed it in 1981 after only 8 years, and here is the part that still stings. Its nearly identical twin, the Curly Whirly, is sold by Cadbury overseas to this day. Same braid, same caramel, same idea. The bar did not fail. It just failed here. Somewhere across the ocean, kids are still eating your childhood. Number 2. The Reggie Bar. In 1976, Reggie Jackson joked that if he ever played in New York, they would name a candy bar after him. Then he signed with the Yankees, and Standard Brands, the same company behind Baby Ruth and Butterfinger, actually did it. The Reggie Bar arrived in 1978, a round patty of caramel and peanuts covered in chocolate, with a slugger's face on the orange wrapper. On opening day at Yankee Stadium that April, every fan got one free. Reggie stepped up, launched a home run, and 40,000 people threw their candy bars onto the field in tribute. It rained chocolate in the Bronx. Even the clubhouse joined in. Catfish Hunter cracked that. When you unwrap a Reggie bar, it tells you how good it is. That moment was the peak. Jackson's Yankee years wound down. The novelty faded, and by the early 80s, the bar was quietly discontinued. It remains the only candy bar in history that was ever used as confetti. And honestly, that is a better ending than most bars on this list got. Number 3. The original Wonka Bar here is one almost nobody knows. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the 1971 movie, was financed by Quaker Oats. A cereal company paid for a Hollywood film, and even had the title changed from Charlie to Wonka, for one reason. They were launching a real Wonka bar in stores to ride the movie. A company that knew everything about oatmeal and almost nothing about chocolate. And then the bar failed. The formula would not behave. The chocolate would not hold up on shelves, and the bars were pulled around the very moment the film was charming its way into theaters. Imagine building the theme park and forgetting to finish the ride. The movie became one of the most beloved children's films ever made. The candy bar it was built to sell barely existed. Later companies revived the Wonka name for years, and even that version vanished from shelves by around 2010. The golden ticket was real. The chocolate never quite was. Number 4. Bonomo Turkish Taffy. This one came with instructions. Bonomo Turkish Taffy, born from a Coney Island candy family with Turkish roots, was a flat slab of taffy and vanilla, chocolate, strawberry, or banana. And you did not just eat it. You cracked it. The television jingle taught a whole generation the ritual. Smack the bar hard on a table, or better, freeze it first, and it shattered into sweet shards you fished out of the wrapper one by one. Every kid had a flavor loyalty, and the banana people were always the loudest about it. In the early 70s, Tootsie Roll Industries bought the brand, tinkered with the recipe, and within about a decade, the original was gone from the racks entirely. A faithful revival appeared decades later, and it is genuinely close. But ask anyone who was 8 years old in 1963, and they will tell you the crack does not echo the same when you are 50. Number 5. Sugar Mama. You know Sugar Daddy, the caramel pop that pulled out fillings from coast to coast. You know Sugar Babies. But there was a third member of that family, and she vanished. Sugar Mama, made by the James O. Welch Company of Cambridge, Massachusetts, The same house that gave the world Junior Mints came along in the 1960s, a bar of that same slow, chewy caramel, except covered in chocolate. For plenty of kids, it was the best of the three, all the caramel with none of the stick. Mothers approved too, because it did not weld a child's jaw shut on the ride home. Welch had sold to Nabisco. Ownership shuffled again and again through the 70s, and somewhere in the 1980s, Sugar Mama was quietly dropped. No announcement. Sugar Daddy is still on shelves today. Sugar babies are still on shelves today. Mama never came home, and most people never even noticed she left. Quick pause. Which of these were you carrying home in a paper bag? And what did it cost you? Tell me in the comments, and hit subscribe before the back half, because number 9 on this list is going to genuinely upset some people. Number 6. The Rally Bar. Hershey does not miss often, which is why almost nobody remembers the Rally. Launched in 1970, it was Hershey's Heavyweight, a fudge center wrapped in caramel, packed all over with whole peanuts, then coated in milk chocolate. Think of a payday that finally got dipped, years before that actually existed. It was dense, salty, sweet, and serious. A working man's candy bar, the kind a father bought for himself at the hardware store and a son stole halves of in the truck. And it sold fine. But fine is not enough in a portfolio full of legends. And before the decade was out, the Rally had faded off the racks. Hershey briefly brought it back in the 90s for the nostalgia crowd, then retired it again for good. The Rally never got a scandal, a lawsuit, or a dramatic ending. It just got outshined by its own siblings, which might be the most relatable death on this list. Number 7. The Whiz Bar, now for the deep cut. If you remember the Whiz Bar, you grew up near a very good candy counter. Made by the Paul F. Beich Company of Bloomington, Illinois, a candy house that had been at it since the 1800s, the Whiz was a soft marshmallow and peanut bar under a coat of milk chocolate, and it carried one of the great slogans in candy history. Whiz, best nickel candy there is. Spelled exactly like that, grammar sacrificed for joy. It never had national muscle behind it, just decades of loyal Midwestern kids. When the Beich Company was absorbed into Nestle in the 1980s, the Whiz was already fading, and it never came back. No revival, no retro re-release, nothing. Some bars die famous. The Whiz just quietly ran out of is. Number 8. The $100,000 Bar. This one vanished in the sneakiest way possible, because it is still on the shelf. In 1966, Nestle introduced the $100,000 Bar, chewy caramel and crisp rice in milk chocolate. With a name straight out of the big money game show era, this was a country raised on quiz shows with fortunes on the line, and Nestle simply raised the pot. Kids said the whole thing every time, $100,000 bar, and it felt like holding a briefcase of cash for a dime. Kids flashed it around the playground like they had come into money. Then in 1985, Nestle renamed it 100 Grand. Same bar, same recipe, smaller words. If you were born after that, you never knew the difference. But everyone who grew up in the 60s and 70s watched a candy bar take a pay cut in broad daylight. The chocolate survived. The glamour did not. Number 9. The Mars Bar. Sit with this one for a second. The company is named Mars, and in America, there is no Mars Bar. The original American Mars Bar, whipped nougat and toasted almonds under milk chocolate, sat on racks for generations, a fixture beside the Milky Way and the Snickers. Then in 2002, Mars discontinued it in its own home country. The recipe did not die. It went into witness protection. Today it lives on shelves wearing a different jacket, sold as the Snickers almond. Walk into any store in America today and ask for a Mars Bar, and the teenager at the register will look at you like you invented it. And before anyone writes in, yes, there is a Mars Bar overseas, but that is a different animal entirely, closer to our Milky Way, which means the actual American Mars Bar, the one your father bought, exists nowhere on Earth under its own name. The family name outlived its own firstborn. Number 10. The Clark Bar. And finally, the one that refused to stay dead. David Clark, an Irish immigrant, started making the Clark Bar in Pittsburgh in 1917. A crisp, honeycomb peanut butter center in milk chocolate. It shipped to American soldiers in the First World War and came home a legend, a top seller for most of the century. For decades, a giant Clark Bar sign glowed over Pittsburgh, as much a part of the skyline as the rivers. Then came the slow slide, ownership changes, shrinking sales, and in 1999, the brand landed at Necco, the old New England candy giant. When Necco collapsed in 2018, the Clark Bar went dark, and for 2 years, it was as gone as anything else on this list. Then Boyer Candy of Altoona, Pennsylvania, bought the rights at auction and fired the line back up in 2020. Same crunch, same colors, made about 100 miles from where it was born. The Clark Bar came home to Pennsylvania. 10 bars on this list. Only one clawed its way back. Here is the thing that connects all 10. Not one of these candy bars died because kids stopped loving it. They died in meetings, a trademark dispute, an acquisition, a spreadsheet, a rename. The love was still out there, sitting in a million pockets, and nobody in the room asked about it. A candy bar is the cheapest time machine ever built. For a nickel or a dime, it bought you 5 minutes where everything was fine, walking home from the store with the wrapper crackling and the whole afternoon still ahead of you. So tell me, which one of these did you grow up with, and which vanished bar did I leave off the list? Drop it in the comments, subscribe for the next trip back in time, and send this to the person you used to split a candy bar with. They will know exactly which one.